Okay, we're going to do an experiment here. I've got some water that's at the boiling point, and it's just sitting there on a hot plate. But I'm going to put some water in another beaker that's not going to be at the boiling point. So let's take a look at what I have here. Here's an empty beaker. Let me turn my balance on. And this beaker weighs 67 something, but I'm going to tear it out so that I fool it into thinking that the beaker doesn't weigh anything. So now I'm going to pour some water at just regular room temperature into this beaker. So what weight we see on the balance, that's the mass of just the water, because the beaker's already been subtracted from it by my little trick. I'm going to drop this temperature probe into the water, and the temperature probe is connected to this little device over to the side, and it's reading out the temperature in degrees Celsius, and it's about the same as it was when it was outside the beaker, because that water has been sitting in this room for a while. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the mass of the boiling water that I had on the hot plate. I need to re-tear this so that it's zeroed out. Now this mass includes the beaker. It's 148 point something, probably about 8 or 7. It's fluctuating a little bit as steam continues to leave the beaker. The next thing I'm going to do is put both of these beakers on the hot plate at the same time. And I'm just going to let it sit there for a while. So now as the energy is added to the beaker on the right, that energy is being used to change the phase of the water as the water boils. So water is leaving the beaker, that water that boils, but the water on the right hand side is not boiling. The energy that's being added there is just being used to increase the temperature of the water. An assumption that we're making in this video is that the energy that goes into the beakers will be the same, because they're about the same surface area on the bottom and they're sitting on the exact same hot plate. So the energy transfer through heating should be the same into both beakers. Now I'm going to remove both of the beakers from the hot plate. And now let's make some measurements. First of all, if you look at the temperature on the right hand side, this is the new temperature for the water that stored the energy by heating. And now here's the new weight of the water that stored the energy by vaporizing.